The Manuscript of Survival, Part 400. February 26, 2014. As many of you have already noticed, these incoming energetic fluctuations have started to affect you in so many ways, and even if you at times will feel at loss to describe just what you are experiencing, we can only say that you are going through something that has not been previously experienced by any living being before. For you are pioneers in every sense of the word, and as such, you are already treading on virgin territory, and the remainder of your journey will take you even further into these uncharted waters. We know that this may sound unsettling to some of you, but again, you are not sent out on a wild and reckless chase for something that is elusive, rather you are being sent out on a journey that is taking you back to you, in every sense of the word. We are aware that these words will indeed sound repetitious to so many of you, and rightly so, as there are none amongst you who took the first steps on this journey yesterday. No, this is for all of you a journey that started a very long time ago, and even if you have only recollections of what you have done so far in this current embodiment of your spirit, let us just say that nothing you have ever done has been without this goal in mind. And so, this journey has indeed been far longer than you can comprehend at the moment, and before you start to get even more exhausted thinking about the implications of this, let us hasten to remind you that you are here now, at that last and final stretch towards attaining that end goal you have been striving towards, seemingly forever. We know fully well that for many of you, this will sound like no consolation, for even if you focus your mind on just this single lifetime, even that will seem to be overly taxing to contemplate, and right now, you may even feel as if you have changed not one iota from the person you were for as long as you can manage to cast your mind back. Well, that is indeed understandable, for again, all of the hustle and bustle, the wear and tear of this whole process will in so many ways grind down your ability to literally see not only yourself, but this whole process clearly. For your vision will be blurred in all sorts of ways, and so too it will seem is the case with the rest of your ability to perceive the truth. But still, we are indeed confident that none of you can say that nothing has happened, and that you still feel stuck in the same old. For nothing is no longer what it used to be, whether you look on the outside or the inside, but still, there are indeed many voices trying to convince you that this is not the truth. They will try to hammer in the same old message of despair, disillusion and disempowerment, and so, it can be hard to ignore these voices when you yourself seem to be stuck in a space that gives you nothing but hard work. And so you may falter again, and you may feel your confidence slipping away, and you will think that you have been fooled all of this time, and you have been sent on a wild goose chase for the entertainment of some unseen forces that seem to take a liking to pulling your leg. That is understandable, and we do not fault any for getting this idea into their head. For your heads have been well programmed to stick to these kinds of patterns and mental loops, where you seem to go around and around in an endless pattern of despair and hope for only to fall back to despair again. But we also know that the vast majority of the people reading these words have managed to get themselves unstuck from these old ruts of disbelief, and so, you have already traveled quite a distance from the person you used to be, and you are pulling and stretching on the few remaining threads of the old yoke still trying to hold you back. But from time to time, you may find yourself seemingly back in that old rut again, fighting hard not to lose hope that everything you have accomplished has been for nothing, and you are right back where you started. But you are not, you are merely experiencing a bleed-through of the old programming, the ghost in the machine if you will, making a last effort to try to entice you into thinking that this ghost, this shimmering illusion of reality is for real, but it is not. And so, whenever you find yourself being revisited by some of these old ghosts from the past, all you have to do is what you have done every time you have found yourself thinking you are lacking in any way. You must simply reattach your focus to you, and not let it stray all around you, where it is apt to get tangled into this old web of disinformation and propaganda. For remember, the voices from this old ghost town are still making themselves heard, that is, if you choose to let yourself listen to them. But if you instead choose to ignore them, you will hear those other voices coming to you loud and clear, and the message they bring is a very different one indeed. For these voices carry the truth in the form of light, and the light has only one message to convey, and that is the message of love. Conventional wisdom says that hate is the opposite of love, but many of you have already discovered the real truth. Fear is the opposite of love, and fear thrives whenever it can manage to push the focus away from the light. For then, the mind will start to wander off by itself again, and as usual, it will try to seek back to what it already knows. For remember, the mind can be very set on avoiding change in any shape, size or form, and so, the very idea of venturing into virgin territory may be too much to contemplate for such a timid, human mind. This is not said to discredit any parts of you, least of all your mind. It is simply said to remind you that from the beginning, your mind has been set to survival mode, and as the time went by and other forces not representing the light intervened, your mind got this survival mode ingrained even deeper, and this version of it was acting out on one impulse stronger than the rest, and that was the impulse of fear. And through the ages, fear has been pulsating in and around you all so strongly, it became the overriding force within, and so, stepping away from this instinctive reaction of fear whenever you encounter something that is very new is indeed one that has taken you all a long time to master. But now you can master it, as you have all proven again and again. For you have already become masters in mastering the art of looking upon change as inevitable, and as such, you have indeed managed to get out of that old rut of fear. But, as we told you, that old ghost will still try to rise its head from time to time, and we venture to guess you have all had your fair share of these whiffs of the old disillusionment and desperation caused by that lingering smell of the old. So that is why we return again and again to remind you, of who you truly are, and why it is you are going through this monumental change in the first place. For it is not in order to entertain us or any other part of creation you can think of. No, this is done in order to liberate not only you, but your whole planet from this old and crippling controlling force, the one that rears its head and sends out signals of fear every time anyone tries to step outside the old borders. But you have already trespassed these borders, in fact, you have left them behind a long time ago, but that does not make that old voice give up trying to get you back into the fold again. But you are far, far past the point of no return, dear ones, and even if you might find yourself experiencing that same crippling gut reaction that used to be triggered within you by that old voice of fear, know that this is merely an illusion too. For you are no longer governed by this fear, it can only make your physical body respond in some measures, and so, your mind will try to chime in with the same reactions it used to respond with whenever the whiff of fear entered you earlier. But again, you are older, and you are far, far wiser now, so whenever you feel this old pattern revisiting you, all you have to do, is to take that same reassuring trip within to your own core. For whenever you do this, you will feel the love that is pulsating stronger and stronger there, and you will feel how this pulse is not only coming from within you. No, this pulse is the cosmic pulse of love, that never-ending heartbeat that will supply you with everything you need as you continue on into these beckoning unexplored places. And so, you will never run out of power, for you will never run out of love. But you might soon find yourself running out of excuses for not believing in this all-powerful force that is all around you. For even if your body and your mind may be screaming for mercy from sheer exhaustion from time to time, you will have no problem in accessing this immense powerhouse of love. For you are all so deeply and fully reintegrated into this vast, intergalactic grid of love by now, there is no way you cannot get a positive answer if you send out a request for a refill should you so need it. For it is all there, waiting for you to welcome it with open arms, and when you do, no matter how high that old voice of fear will try to shout into your eyes, ears and mind, you will not listen ever again. For you will see it for what it truly is, merely a sour, lingering smell from days gone by, days when you were a very different person than you are today. For then, you were merely a human, but now, you are a master, and so, you can start to simply be the master you really are. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com